Oh, look at that. There's already people here in the... Oh, man, we got a great topic for y'all today. We got a great topic for the community. Great topic. We might just have to do one topic because it is a meaty topic. It's going to go into the depths of politics. But you know what? It is a most righteous rip. I just realized today that the microphone that I have in front of me on these episodes, I don't think it's picking up any audio. I think the whole audio is going in from the MacBook. I don't even know. But come on, welcome to the service, y'all. Welcome to the service, y'all. That's it. Get funky with the music. Oh my god, we got... You're not going to believe what we got today. Graphics? We got some new graphics. Holy shit, dude. From Rewind Cat. Rewind Cat went in, found us some graphics. Holy, you're not going to believe this shit. I was shocked, dude. And then, yeah, we got to get into this parade because they did a parade float. I mean, you could probably see it in the thumbnail. The parade float is insane. So, I mean, it's insane, but you know what? I support it. I support it. Tell me if you can hear me okay, if you can hear the music okay. Is it a good volumeage, though? Is it mixing good? Is it mixing and coming through correctly? Let me know. Make sure that we always want to make sure we're moving closer and closer to God. And that's why, that's why I need you to support this digital ashram. We got the bus. Who else is telling you to do your karmas? Who else is fighting the ego? Who else has a certificate of completion? You see this? These are the only certified pontifications on YouTube. Certified pontifications, guys. Nobody's got it. Who's got it? Give me a name. Who's certified? Nobody's certified. That's enough of it, and that's fine. That's good. Perfect. Great music. Had a powerful meditation yesterday. I think Nichama came, and then Osneal came to my meditation class yesterday. Very good karmas. Very good. That's very most righteous. Let me know if you can see me okay. Check this out. This is crazy. Oh, what's that? What's that? Oh, and we are live, people. Did you guys see that? Maybe we gotta slow it down. It's a little quick, but that's exciting. Do you see that shit? Let me show you again, goddammit. What a sick, look at this. We're gonna come right in here and bam! A God is great. You like that? That's what we're doing. We're always moving one step closer to God, y'all. Let me know if you can hear me okay. Can you guys hear me? Is the audio okay? Last night congregation was something. First time going and it was neat. Thank you. You're in a brew. We are ripping and we are dipping. Yes, we are. Correct. That is correct. Richard Matthews. Oh, Richard Matthews, you got your wrench there. You got a little wrench. I think that's the first time implementing the wrench. So let's give him a buttercup. How about that?
We're just a little buttercup, aren't we?
That's right, with that little wrench. He says, love you, my brown brother from another. Yes, brother. Yeah, I love you too. I love the white community, and I love the Muslim community, and I love the Sikh community. And that's what we got to talk about today. Big controversy. But it's not really controversial in Brampton. Nobody's talking about it in Brampton. I'm actually the first one to cover this in Brampton, but in India, crazy right now. India's going crazy on this shit right now. It's wild that Canadian politics can piss them off so much. You're gonna be amazed. You will be amazed at the bitterness and the anger. You're gonna say, how can they be so angry? Let's set it up actually with this clip. This is great. Let's set her up, shall we? Hold on. Why does it always do this? Hold on. Okay, we got... What? There we are. Okay, so outrage over Indira Gandhi's assassination tableau in Canada. Look at that. So here's what happened. There's a parade, and it was like right here, right where I live. Like right where I live. We my sister was not complaining. She was saying great community, love the community. They did a play, took her an hour to get to the hospital to get my mom, because my mom that's how close it is. The hospital's like 10 minutes away, and this was like right in the middle. And you know what? I love this little... You know how I talk about being out in the community, supporting the culture, right? So the fact that there's all these people out at the parade, you know what I mean? They're out in the community. That's great. And you got to make art. And this actually really happened. This is Indira Gandhi, a prime minister of India at one point, and there's been this sectarian violence between the Sikhs and the Hindus, or the Sikhs and the Indian government. And so there's been this separation movement to separate Punjab into another country. And actually, it goes back to partition. This is when people say that the British had a policy of divide and conquer. This is a perfect example of it. When the British left India, they basically gave Pakistan a country, and they basically decided that wherever there's mostly Muslims, we'll call that Pakistan, and then wherever there's mostly Hindus, that can be India. And then the Sikhs never got that option. They were considered like too small, I guess, at that point. So the Hindus and the Muslims got their own country, but the Sikhs, not only did they not get their own country, but they were cut in half. So this really is. I mean, it's amazing to me that I talk to my conservative family in India, and they'll complain about Muslims and Sikhs more than the British. If you bring up the British, they're like, this is finished. That's okay. Sometimes they even like the British. They're like, we would be better if they came back. I have family in India that says that. My dad used to say shit like that. It'd be better if we came back. Very conservative mentality, I guess. They really like that whole thing. But then they almost demand this loyalty from the other religions inside the country. They want there to be a loyalty. So they're very upset about this. What do you guys think? I think it's... Oh, okay. So going back to the sectarian violence, though. So there's when they partitioned India, they split them up. So that was an insult. Hindus and Muslims got their own country. They didn't get their own country, and they got cut in half. It's the insult to injury. Don't cut it in half then. You can't... That's the problem. It's like a double insult, right? So anyway, in the 70s, this was the Prime Minister of India, Indira Gandhi. She had some violent clashes, and at one point there was a massacre at the Golden Temple, and I think that's what they're showing here. It was called Operation Blue Star, and there was a bunch of militants inside the Golden Temple. This is a place of worship, and the Hindu side came out and basically did like a kind of like they locked the gates and just killed everyone. Five-kilometer-long parade held during the 39th anniversary of Operation Blue Star. Yeah, wow. So they did it on the anniversary, too. Yeah, so that's... I mean, I think it's fair, honestly. Because they did it... Okay, so let me just explain it fully. She did a pretty big... It was a massacre, Operation Blue Star. And then a Sikh guy basically shot her. I think it was one guy, but now maybe according to this montage, it might have been two guys. They just killed her in public. And so now this is a celebration that, like, you massacred us, but we fucked you up, bitch. And I think it's kind of rock and roll. I like it. I think it's fun for the community. Like, I remember when I was growing up, my parents would be like, nobody goes to the Hindu temple, but the Sikh temples, there's like 5 of them, and they're all busy, and everyone's going. And I'm like, yeah, because they do cool shit, though. You gotta have the cool shit. Like even music-wise, like when I go to Gujarati events, there'll be a singer. I swear to God, there's like Gujarati singers. They have to sing with a karaoke machine and a voice corrector. They don't know how to sing. If you go to a Punjabi event, someone can just take the mic and like they can belt it, dude. And then the music's tight. So first of all, you got the music. It's real art. And then this is a real piece of art, I'd say. I mean, this is legitimate. This almost reminds me of like when you go to those art exhibits. Like I remember my buddy was an artist in high school, and in high school they all did the different art exhibits. And he did an art exhibit where there's like a baby on the like it was like a horror movie, and there's like a baby on the ground and his head was spinning, and it's like, yeah, I mean, the community got together and they made this. And they're basically saying like, hey, we got insulted a couple of times here. A physical massacre where our people were shot. This is the anniversary. I mean, even though I'm Hindu, I think I gotta support this. I kind of like it. It's kind of rock and roll. A 5-kilometer long parade held during the 39th anniversary of Operation Blue Star. We're going to get to the Indian reaction in a second. This is already Hindustan Times, 321,000 views 5 days ago. They're pissed, man. The Hindu government doesn't like it. During Operation Blue Star, Jarnail Singh Brinderwale, along with other militants, were killed in Indian Army operation in the Golden Temple complex in Amritsar. Yeah. Bindranwale was a key figure in the growing separatist Khalistan movement in India. The army stormed the Golden Temple on the orders of Indira Gandhi to flush out militants. This is fair, right? I'm going to come to comments for a second. Months later, on October 31st, 1984, Indira Gandhi was shot dead by 2 of her Sikh bodyguards. She should have... It's crazy that she has 2 Sikh bodyguards and she just did a massacre on Sikh people, and it doesn't occur to her to be like, guys, are we cool? You know I had to do it, right? She didn't have a conversation with them. You know, and this is the problem with these, they're psychos anyway. That's the thing with politicians. They almost are part of this caste of people where, no, but you can't kill them. It is wrong to kill her. It's wrong for her to kill them, and then it's wrong for them to kill her. I mean, this is only, you know, on that side of it, it's like, it is like keeping a trauma alive, I guess, you know? It is like keeping this bitterness alive that maybe isn't. A Khalistan flag can also be seen on the tableau in Brampton. They in India, they hate this. They are so mad at Brampton. For a while, I remember I was in line to get a passport here, and there's a lineup around the thing, and this Sikh uncle, not uncle, he was like a grandpop's age. He comes in. The lineup's going all the way around the building. He comes in, Sat Sri Akal bete. He just comes in with like the Sikh greeting, and I was like, Sat Sri Akal ji, you know, and then he's like, sir, lineup is too long. And then he just stayed there. He just stayed in front of me, and then we chatted for a bit, and he was saying that the reason why there's a lineup at the Indian Embassy in Brampton is because of Khalistan-related activities in Brampton area, in Canada, in general, but in Brampton area especially. There's Khalistan-related activities here, so the Indian government doesn't like it, and they made it more difficult to get the passport. I remember when I was trying to get my mom's passport, she could have got, if she was from Afghanistan, she could have gotten an e-visa. But Canada, no e-visa. I don't know. I don't know if it's because of them. He just told me that. He just told me, you know, he's gossiping kind of. A Khalistan flag can also be seen on the tableau. They're so pissed about that. Hindustan Times cannot independently verify the authenticity of the video. No, listen, I can identify the authenticity. This is where I live. This is exactly the houses, like I'm around here. India has flagged off concerns with Canadian authorities many times over. Yeah. They keep telling Trudeau, but Trudeau, and I think maybe even Jagmeet Singh, they might be Khalistan supportive. What a drama. What a drama. The rise of anti-India activities in Canada, home to a large Sikh population. Is this music okay? Oh my God. Last year, the Radicals also held a so-called Khalistan referendum in the same city. Don't say radicals. It's not radical to want your own country. If they can get together and get the votes, they get their own country. We're free people. You know, that's the other thing, too, with India. There's almost this expectation, especially when I live there, that they should be unified and they should be one country and they should be all love each other. And it's like, culturally, India is like, it's like if you forced all of Europe to be one country. I mean, that's how much the population is. That's how diverse India is, different parts of it. Who cares? You look at European Union. They're all separate countries, and now they've made a union, and they're friends. If you force everyone to be in one country that they don't really belong in, it's going to create nonstop sectarian violence. It'll never end. And these lines have been drawn by old British, you know, like they did have a divide and conquer kind of mentality. And, it's like, just let them have a country. This is a problem. Every time they do a vote, the Hindus block the vote. It's like, just let them vote, man. If you're cool, people don't want to leave, actually. That's the thing. If the Hindus were like, hey, love you, but if you got to go, you got to go. If they had that kind of attitude, I bet it wouldn't create such anger and polarization on the other side. It would probably calm down a bit, and then it would move towards not separating, but having, better economic ties. Because you look at European Union, they're separate countries, but then they all made a union. Germany pays for Greece. That might as well be the same country. Germany had to bail Greece out. That's basically, there are two states in the European, you could say that. Like, you have United States of America, and then you have European Union. You could just call it United States of Europe. What's the difference? And the same thing could happen to India. If everyone was just broken off, then everyone would just be friends after. Because they'd be like, yeah, we got to live here. Let's work together. I mean, Pakistan's not friends, but Pakistan, that's... In March, the MEA summoned the Canadian envoy to lodge a protest over anti-India activities. Oh, God. The viral video comes as Canadian NSA has accused India of meddling in internal affairs. Ooh. Now India's getting involved. Look at how they made that. Netizens have demanded PM Modi send strong message to Canadian counterpart. Why India fails to send a strong message to Justin Trudeau? What's India gonna do, dude? And he's tweeting at the PMO, Dr. Jay Shankar, and I'm gonna play a clip from Jay Shankar. Jay Shankar is at the rips right now. Jay Shankar's doing the best viral clips in the game right now. More viral than even Modi, I think. Because Modi, does he even talk? But Jay Shankar fucking rips, dude. We're gonna see it. We're gonna see it. But they are very like Hindu number one. We gotta dominate. We gotta be in charge. We need loyalty. Like, there is that attitude, and it's like that creates the fighting, I think. It is more of a reflection of Pakistani Sikh agenda. Gotta bring the Pakistani into it. Why are you bringing Pakistan into it? You see this? Stop fighting. It is more of a reflection of Pakistani Sikh agenda. They are deprived of a lot of benefits. What does Pakistan have to do with it? This is the problem when you're fighting with people, is that you're always, even when they did, like when Indira Gandhi did the attack on the Golden Temple, it's like, it didn't, if you look at the details of it, it's like, you don't need to do this. You don't need to just kill everyone. They were just spazzing out. And this is what happens when you're in a fight with people. If you fight instead of, we're not here to fight, we're here to love. This is in such poor taste, Ranita Roy. We Indians never forgetting. Justin Trudeau. We Indians never forgetting. Disgusting. Canada as well. The Indians there should know this is completely unacceptable and won't do any of them good in any way. Hey, she did a massacre on them, brother. Why? All these comments should also include like, fuck her for massacring them, but then they shouldn't have done this to her either. Then it's fair. I'm so fair. I call it so fair. You will not even find one BJP supporter approving of such display of hatred for Indira Gandhi, despite suffering a lot at the dynasty's hand just because she was our prime minister. This is the basic difference between nationalists and dynastic slaves. Jesus Christ. Dynastic slave. On the other hand, any hatred towards Modi globally gets clapped at by the brain-dead supporters of dynastic democracy. Wow, dude. Of course, India, it kind of reminds me of like, I remember I was at a place with someone who just came from India and we were getting fries and there's a bowl in a plate and some of the fries fell out and the guy goes, "These French fries are over capacity." And I always thought that was a silly thing to say. This reminds me of that. Like, sometimes you meet people from India and like, yeah, they have an accent, but their English is actually better and they have bigger words. Like, I don't even know what dynastic slaves and dynastic democracy. I mean, dynastic means like slaves of the dynasty. Yeah, it's interesting that he's the first guy to bring it up, but the interesting thing about this Indira Gandhi is that the Hindus don't like her either. A lot of Hindu nationalists, And I remember my dad was starting to get emails from this Hindu nationalist group, and the Hindu nationalist group basically has a theory that the first Prime Minister of India, which is her dad, Jawaharlal Nehru, I'm pretty sure it's her dad, he was secretly a Muslim. And he actually was working against the Hindus the whole time and just trying to give the whole country to the Muslims. So it's weird. Like, you think, I feel like this could be, this would be celebrated in another context. Well, that's nice. That's a nice little setup. Let's talk to the congregation. Let's go over to the comment congregation. How y'all doing? How are y'all doing? There is a very lively community discussion, I think. No, incorrect. Correcto mundo. Thank you. Wow, look at all that. McZemzem says, "Morning, Buttercups." Hey, guess what, pal?
Wow, we're just a little buttercup, aren't we?
That's correct. This is a track called Prophet 7 by Noir A. Blanc V from the YouTube Creator Library, and you're listening to the drip and down live on YouTube. Wow, look at this comment congregation. It's very lively, very active today. And that's good. You should be taking in some international issues. Doesn't it hurt you to learn about some international issues? What's going on in India? This is one big global community, people, and we need to be looking out. And, sometimes I feel like we need to help each other do some diplomacy, Instead of people, I'm seeing a lot of people that are ready to fight, but where are the people that are ready to love? Where are the sister city organizations? The organizations that are built to bring our two communities together. And you can say, these are the major issues we're fighting about. And in order for us to heal, we have to apologize for the wrong we've done. And we have to let you know that these are the things that we feel aggrieved by, and we need some acknowledgement from you that this is wrong. What your great grandparents did that we're suffering from, we need some acknowledgement from you. That's a good organization. It would bring the people together, because it would basically have to be a forgiveness organization. Yeah. That's why I'm a Canadian Screen Award winner. That's it. That's why. Because I have ideas like that. Writers Guild Award winner. In TV, that's what always the message has to be like, we are all one. This fighting is not acceptable. It's not how you live in a community. And I'm going to show you some stuff in a second. Hi, everyone. And yes, Amish, I am a little buttercup. Yes, Chris Neller. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Great show. Christopher Edwards Bailey says, great show. Yes, it is a great show. Very good. Very good, everyone. Thanks for coming. BJ, P. Morton, Chipco. Justin Consciousness with that wrench.
Wow, we're just a little buttercup.
Keeping everybody in line. Let's go to the top Hindu super debater. This is Arnab Goswami. Big inspiration for our channel, by the way. Big inspiration for our channel. And let's take a look at what he has to say about it. Actually, no, you know what? I want you to see this. No, I want to go with this guy. This guy, he looks like he's biting Arnab Goswami a little bit. Let's take a look at him.
Manpreet Khalsa, here's the thing. You go celebrate 9/11, you reenact 9/11 in the streets of Toronto, Brampton, or Washington, D.C., then let's see where you end up.
Why would we do that? Why would we do that?
Yeah, that's the point, because you won't do it, because you think that's the wrong thing to do. Because you know that you'll be arrested, that's why you won't do it.
Any innocent, whether it be Sikh, whether it be Hindu, whether it be Muslim, you continuously saying we are a fringe minority, go open your eyes. There was a 10-mile jam on Canadian motorway to vote for Khalistan, in Khalistan referendum in Brampton. Nearly 80,000 people voted on the day one. You need to, for closure, you need to know the other side of story. No propaganda. You need to open your eyes to the facts.
Look at this guy's so pissed. He just has this shit angry. Ready for the attack, dude. Ready for the attack. It's like, of course the Sikh guy sounds so reasonable. It's always like this.
Lives in diaspora.
When you stop and look, like the Hindus are always like, oh, they're terrorists, Khalistan, terrorists. Like they're so dismissive of it. And then you hear them and they're like, we have a movement and we feel like we've been. I mean, it's fair. I mean, the guy's not.
Majority of them are Khalistanis. And you need to understand
Don't be
this.
ridiculous.
You
That's
need to
absolutely
understand-
I don't know if majority are Khalistani. That is actually true. That I kind of agree with that. Like, I don't know if it's a majority. The problem is that the Hindus never let them do a good vote. So it's like, if you just let them vote and it turns out it's not that high, then the whole thing would disappear. But I feel like every time they try to do a vote, the Hindu side blocks it and makes it like so that they're not allowed to do it. But I wonder what the
Sir, there are so many
what the results of the Canadian one are, because I know a bunch of Sikh people and everyone I know is against Khalistan. It's like, and I know so many. I have so many here, and basically the pro Khalistan people are more like the lefties kind of. They're like the more, they got a revolutionary spirit. And I find most people in general, especially if they're running a business, they're working, whatever, they kind of don't care. They don't want to deal with it. So my experience has been, like it seems like low support, to be honest, within the community. But I don't
people
know.
I know personally, family and friends who are far from toxic, far from Khalistani. They're as sane, sensible, smart as smart can be. And do not tarnish them with the same kind of vile brush that paints across your face, that paints through your mind.
Oh my God. It's so rude. I can't believe this Indian TV.
Because that is
Vile brush paints your face and paints your mind.
simply not true. That is a factual inaccuracy. This is a small group of people with poisonous intent.
And this is bullshit, dude. Manpreet Khalsa, they turned off his fucking mic, man. This is bullshit. When they turn off the mic, it's like he can't even respond to this.
And people who need to be acted against. And the mightiest country democratically needs to send a stern message to the government of Justin Trudeau that this is not acceptable.
He's still
Terry,
talking.
do you want to come in on? Terry, do you want to come in on the hypocrisy? Manpreet Khalsa would never celebrate 9/11 because he knows where he'll end up if he did.
Couple of facts. First, the only way that a Khalistani politician can get elected in Canada at any level, at the federal or provincial level, is to disguise, conceal, and deny the fact that he's a Khalistani. You have to pretend you're not a Khalistani in order to get elected. That's how much support Khalistan has among the Sikh diaspora in Canada, Australia, Germany, UK, you name it. It's a tiny minority. And any pretense that it's a majority runs headlong into the fact that they can't even get any support to elect any members at all in the elections in Punjab. The last one, they got, what, 2.5% of the vote, no seats. The one before that, they got less than 1% of the vote. There is no support. It's a tiny minority. That is a fact. The second thing I want to make...
No, but okay, listen, whatever the arguments are, the fact that the guy, they turned his mic off, man. This is unacceptable.
Point is, remember, we're not just reenacting the assassination of Indira Gandhi in the streets of Brampton, Ontario. First of all, by the way, that is the largest province in Canada. It's not some little province, so we shouldn't pay any attention to Ontario. It is the largest and most powerful province in Canada by far. 15 million people. Okay? So let's forget that. Second thing is that
nobody said who cares about Ontario.
In Canada, because you have to disguise your Khalistani sympathies, you have to pretend, you have to go around it sideways. You have to do what Jagmeet Singh, the leader of the NDP, upon whose favor the current Liberal government of Justin Trudeau depends for its survival. But what he does is he tweets things like, well, the 1984 was all about the Indian state massacring worshippers. So that's how he characterizes Bhindranwale, a worshipper. Innocent worshippers were massacred by the Indian state. Now, so
they were, though. Come on, brother. They were. So many innocent people were killed there. You know, it's hard to tell, right? Like, whenever I look into it, it does seem like the powers that be, because even the point that he's making about, like, you can't run for office if you say you're with the Khalistan, if you say you're Khalistani, that, I don't know if that's because you can't get the votes, or if that's because other government people are like, hey, like, don't be a radical, don't be a separatist.
you can find out by reading that and reading between the lines that he's trying to whitewash what Bhindranwale did. He's trying to whitewash the murders that occurred before Operation Blue Star, and he's trying to whitewash Sikh terrorism that happened in the 1980s to include the 1985 bombing of Air India 182.
That was a big deal. That Air India bombing, we had to wait for hours every time we went to India. Like any little thing, it's like 3-hour wait. And the flight's 25 hours. And it was because it was right after this happened.
So what's happening here is that the representatives that we've invited on this show to speak up for the Khalistan cause are engaging in whataboutism. They say, oh, well, why don't you talk about the Sikh genocide 1984? Well, we're here to discuss an absolutely disgraceful event, the celebration, not just the reenactment, but the celebration of the murder of a democratically elected Prime Minister of the world's largest democracy, Indira Gandhi, the celebration of that assassination by nuts, a small minority of nuts in Ontario, Canada. This is a serious matter which should not be countenanced by Canadian politicians. I don't say it shouldn't be allowed by Canadian law because of the freedom of speech issue, but it should not be countenanced.
It almost reminds me a little bit of like, you know how in America they're taking down these statues, and some of the statues are just put up to be like, hey, we run this place, we dominate you. I feel like it feels a little bit like
India
that.
Needs to do
like
more
they
than
have
just bang the table and say lock them up. That's not enough. India needs to say, okay, we've had enough. We're not going to deal with Canadian politicians who will not explicitly and clearly denounce publicly every time they see an event like this, every incident, not just one, but every incident of the celebration of glorification of violence by Canadian Khalistanis. If you're going to play that game, as Jagmeet Singh does, as all the parties do, have you seen any objection from the mayor of Brampton, Patrick Brown, a prominent conservative? Has he denounced this display in the streets of his city? No, not a peep, not a peep. And Indian politicians should be more clever and say, instead of just banging the table and pleasing the crowd at home and saying, lock them up, they should say, okay, we are going to take action. We are not going to deal with any Canadian politician who comes here looking for a trade agreement or for access to the Indian market. We're not going to deal with you unless you explicitly, publicly denounce this endorsement
You're
of
calling this a
terrorism.
liberal government. I just want to cite once again action that Justin Trudeau has taken, acting against gas pipeline protesters who are on a two-week protest.
Oh yeah, that's true. He does crack down on protesters pretty hard. This is actually a good, fair point.
Strongly acting against them. Acting against those who are protesting outside hospitals. Very strongly in September 2021, Justin Trudeau acted against them. Acting against anti-vaccine protesters. He didn't like what they were protesting, acting against them, using, in fact, the Emergency Act. Using the Emergency Act to crack down on anti-vaccine mandate protesters.
That's actually true. That is actually true. It was a little, come on, it was just chill. They were doing, it was a loud but physically peaceful protest. It was audibly aggressive, but it was physically peaceful protest. The one in the truckers' protest, and he cracked down on that. Okay, so far we got one kind of good point. Is Canada now Canada? Khalistan? What do you guys think?
A hypocritical government, far from being a liberal, Dr. Jaishankar, needs to do more because China is not acting in a manner in which just makes my blood boil. This is terrible. And Manpreet Khalsa, far from reflecting the view of the average Sikh,
he won't even let the guy talk. He goes, Manpreet Khalsa, far from being at all reasonable.
Reflecting the view of the average Sikh, yours makes my blood boil. This is terrible. And Manpreet Khalsa, far from reflecting the view of the average Sikh, yours is the minority view, and it's also a vile view. It's a view that should get no space. It's a view that most certainly does not represent the view of the Sikh psyche.
Jesus. They go hard, man. It's like American politics a little bit. Oh, Urain says, did we cover aliens last week? Yeah, we got some alien shit to cover. I mean, yeah, we got to cover the aliens. Let's go aliens. I'm going to play a little bit of this, and then we're going to go to aliens. And we're going to come back to comments, and then we're going to come back to aliens.
Ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for that. Canada has done it again. It's become a hub of separatism, supports terrorism, anti-India activity, this time in a horribly public manner.
I love this.
The assassination of former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi was celebrated as a float in a parade in Brampton, Canada. Canada must act or there should be consequences.
You'll see
Let's
it.
debate.
On the streets of Brampton in Canada, a float celebrating the assassination of former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi was paraded. Another float celebrated Khalistani separatist Amritpal. It's an abhorrent glorification of an assassination.
The bigger issue involved is really the space that Canada has continuously, and we are at a loss to understand, other than the requirements of vote bank politics, why anybody would do this.
The Canadian ambassador to India has condemned the parade.
It's hard as a comedian to really condemn it, because it does feel a little bit like, it's just so silly to me that they got Indira Gandhi.
But the reality is, Canada has
How many arrows are they pointing on this thing? They're like, look at, he has
become
a gun.
a
He
hub
has a
for
gun.
anti-India activity.
Assassination gets to be
Look at the arrows, are so insane, dude. This is why this guy's the #1 channel in India. These guys know how to pump it up, man. Make it scary music. It's so tight.
showcased publicly, gets to be exhibited,
It's so overdone, though. I mean, what is these military targets on them?
is condemnable, and at the same time, government of the day in whose
Okay,
jurisdiction
we got it. Like, it's okay. They have to point the arrow.
all this is happening needs to take cognizance and needs to take action.
Canada is harboring and enabling Khalistanis.
I mean, if anybody has a complaint, we have a complaint about Canada. You know, what I said earlier, the space that they're giving to Khalistanis and to violent extremists. So I was very perplexed by what I heard.
And Canada must snap out of it. Let's debate.
Let's debate. This show is insane because it's a debate show, but he'll do 10 on 10 and then he'll pick a team. Let's just see how many people are on it. And then he picks a team and then he does the first rip for his team. And he does the longest, biggest rips. This guy invented this is the new style in India. And this is basically taking Fox News to the extreme. Debate 3.
My first question is to Terry Miluski, former journalist with the CBC. We have Narinder Kaur on the right, social commentator from London. Sukhi Chahal of Khalsa
He's coming in kind of chill. Usually he comes in yelling.
today, and Puneet Shahani, who's an expert on the evolution of Sikh identity. Thank you very much, everyone. Terry, this is abominable. You know, the way in which you have a gory depiction glorifying the assassination of former Prime Minister of India, Indira
Shame on
Gandhi,
Canada.
with her clothes splashed with red to depict blood flowing, and then an open celebration and glorification of the assassins. Would the assassinations?
So someone in the audience, like Bam came back, says, "No, Brampton, you have forsaken us." Brampton does not speak for Canada. It's okay. From an outsider perspective, India seems like a fascist state. If there are popular separatist movements anywhere, my gut reaction is to blame the federal government for poor governance. That's the thing, dude. 100%, man. It's India, dude. They have such a bad vibe. The Hindu side and the Sikh side actually is actually living in a high vibration. They are like they fight. There is a lot of fighting though. Like, it's weird. It's like they have both extremes. On the Sikh culture, I find, like, there's fighting, but then they do get together all the time. They dance. They party hard. They believe in community. They protest shit. Gujaratis, Patels were just like, no protesting. You can't, like, no money. Protest? How you make money? No money. That's kind of their attitude. Sikhs, they do protest. They have like more of a revolutionary spirit, I find. And the religion itself is founded on throwing off the Hindu caste system. That's the other thing. In Hinduism, the Sikhs were all like, the Sikhs made a new religion partly based on being anti-caste system. Everyone's created equal, but everyone's a warrior for God. And they're on the border and they fight. And this is what happens. And if you have a traumatized community, you know, that they always have to face the war. and they have to do all the fighting for everyone, and then they have to deal with the government. I mean, these issues are going to come up. I think it's, she massacred them, Indira Gandhi. She locked off the gates. She killed a bunch of them. So what? You got to teach the community.
Or any act of violence against Canadian politicians be allowed, or would attempted assassinations on American presidents be celebrated in Canada? Would it be allowed? And if not, which I'm sure it wouldn't, then why?
Look how he sets up the question, though. Of course, he's on. Would it be allowed? And you have to answer his question. So not only is it's a debate show. He's on one of the teams. He's on the anti-Sikh team. He's on the pro-Hindu team, and he sets up the questions. And watch, if they don't answer the question exactly how he says, he's going to yell at them.
Is this being allowed on Canadian soil?
Well, it's an absolute disgrace to Canada. It's an escalation in the crescendo of glorification of violence and terror that has been growing over the past many years. And the reason why it has been growing is because Canadian politicians wink at it. They tolerate it. They don't say...
Islamic State to the Al-Qaeda. This is ineptitude on your... It's a disgrace. However...
It's the disgrace that it is, and that is the core problem. India needs to be more... I'm fine with India being tough on this and banging the table, but I think India also needs to be smarter. Smarter on this.
But I agree with your initial comments, Terry. Terry, your initial comments I agree with, that it's a disgrace. However, I find it totally unacceptable that you're trying to make this a freedom of speech issue. Under which category of freedom of speech would you say today that in America or in Canada you would support Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi or Osama bin Laden? Be careful about lecturing India on freedom of speech, because the same things apply to the Islam.
Not the same. It's not the same. Come on.
Islamic State to the Al-Qaeda. This is ineptitude on your part. Some people may call it woke behavior. It may be... One minute, just 1 minute. You see, you can't have your cake and eat it too. The freedom of speech has its limits. You are celebrating the assassination of an Indian Prime Minister. This is not being done in a covert way. It is being done openly, which means that Canada, Canadian authorities, Canadian politicians, the Canadian system has decided that for its own political considerations, it is going to become a country that becomes an epicenter of terrorism. Now, if that is curious, let me ask you. No, 1 minute. Terry, 1 minute. Terry, 1 minute.
Hold on.
Terry, let's carry out a float. Let's carry out a float in Toronto and Vancouver and in Times Square. Let us believe in freedom of speech, and let a few innocent people simply give some intellectual support to Osama bin Laden, and let there be a float of Osama bin Laden in the heart of the city, Ontario, where you are. Let's have this in Ontario. Let's have this in Ontario.
You will not find anyone in Canada, I promise you, who has more loudly condemned these appalling displays of the glorification of violence.
This is not glorification of violence. This is terrorism. No.
What? He's such an asshole, dude. He just argues like it is not. No, it's not glorification of violence. It's terrorism.
Please don't underplay with your choice of words. English is an interesting language. You are using understatement. This is not glorification of violence. This is terrorism.
I'm calling it.
It is terrorism.
No.
What is glorification of violence? This is terrorism.
I'm not understating that at all.
No, you are, because your choice.
It's not terrorism.
The words is too subtle for my taste.
It's not terrorism.
No, I choose the word terrorism, and I've chosen it for about 2 decades now, so don't lecture me about how I need to condemn this. I've been condemning it louder than any other Canadian I know.
I agreed with you till the point where you said, I condemn it. But when you began to say, oh, you Indians need to understand freedom of speech, then I'm not going to take that from you. But let's hear
This guy doesn't take shit, though. He doesn't. If you do, yeah, of course. It's weird. He almost went on a tangent. He went on a side tangent because they're on the same team technically.
Response. Let's hear it from Puneet Sahni, who's joining us from New York. What do you think, Puneet?
I'll just make 3 very important points, and they are just facts. So when people are seeing this tableau you are seeing is only 6 seconds. What is important is these monsters, they paraded through 4 kilometers of Brampton city for 6 hours. So this madness started from 12 till 6 p.m.
Oh, wait a minute. He's pro too. So they don't even have a pro Sikh. They don't have one person who's pro Sikh. Or sorry, not pro Sikh, but pro float. They don't have a... Man, I thought he had... Usually he does two on this side of the debate, 2 on this side of the debate, but there's no... This guy's crazy.
No, Sikhs are what, 2% of Canada, 3% of Canada.
He's on the same side.
What they must be thinking. These are the stubborn-wearing people that they are, that the woman is with hands up and, they are pumping bullets and, they are celebrating as heroes. it is so shameful, for, this, what has happened to Sikhs. And the thing is, you have to understand, and, Terry is right, this all politicians are like this. But Justin Trudeau, you have to understand what Mr. Jaishankar has said is only incomplete. Because Mr. Jaishankar has said, you have given space. What Trudeau has done is not just given space. He has demolished Sikh voices who speak out against Khalistan. To give you an example, there is a Sikh protest is happening from Canada. So when farmer protest was happening, this Brampton, from where this is happening, they passed this memorandum.
That's true. I think, you know what? The Sikhs are very active in the politics here. So I can see that. I think he's not wrong. But I do feel I find it like a little wrong that this debate show doesn't have anyone on the other side of the debate.
That we support
unacceptable.
Protest. No, what is the job of this
I tell you,
shame on you.
Canada is very sensitive when it comes to its own interests. I saw the way the woke Trudeau responded when there was, the truckers' agitation in Canada. He said law must prevail. But from Canadian soil, they tried to carry out an attack on India's Red Fort, tried to desecrate India's national flag, the tricolour. And this was all happening from Canadian soil. When we told the Canadians, they said freedom of speech. What absolute rubbish!
We heard this point already.
Out into sea to fend for themselves. So don't give me the humanitarian woke nonsense about democracy. But I tell you this. One minute. Allow me to complete my statement. And let's not be so inflammatory in your response, please. My question to you. Time there is a major activity or a political event when two people stand on Vauxhall Bridge, they're going to be arrested. So be clear about it. Be clear about it. No. 1 minute. Listen, Narinder, listen. Narinder, I'll tell you. Narinder, listen to me. Listen, I know what's happening in UK well. You're having so much trouble with asylum seekers right now that all the wokes have decided to put them back on a ship and push them out into sea to fend for themselves. So don't give me the humanitarian woke nonsense about democracy. But I tell you this. 1 minute. Allow me to complete my statement. And let's not be so inflammatory in your response. Please. My question to you. Don't lecture us on democracy.
Stop twisting it.
Don't lecture us on democracy. We know how much democracy there is in the West today.
I don't condone it, but it's not democratic.
Okay, Suki Chahal is responding from California tonight. Suki Chahal is the founder of Khalsa.
Jesus. So it is freedom of speech, democracy. It's a little heavy, I guess, but is it the same as doing a 9/11? See, but I'm the kind of guy who would say, a 9/11 float, here's what a 9/11 float should be. Here, it should have, on one side, it has an airplane going into the buildings. Okay, that's the scary part. Then on this side, it should have George W. Bush, Dick Cheney especially, getting, maybe as a pig, as a giant fat cat, and it's got some kind of money pipe going from 9/11 to him. That's a fair float. I think that's good for the community. Sorry. Morton P., what do you think? What do you guys think who's been in the army? I think I think that is good for the community, quite frankly. I don't think that would be bad for the community, but let's go.
Today on this debate, Suki.
Man, just cut her out, dude.
Mr. Swami, can you hear me?
I can, loud and clear.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Actually, so let me take a minute. So I think we have to go back and take a look on the history of the Sikhism, Sikh history. Whenever anything happened to the Darbar Sahib, or especially the Akal Takht, it doesn't matter, it was Amish Patel, it was Massa Rangad, it was Indira Gandhi. Sikh community immediately tried to find the closure. The closure is, we have seen the closure in regard to Massa Rangad, we have seen the closure when it's come to the Indira Gandhi, whatever she did in the 1984 attack on the Darbar Sahib. Having said that, actually, so I don't even like it, actually. The mainstream community, actually, so they don't like, actually, so what they have seen, not only in Brampton, actually, so similar floats has been around even within the USA too, actually. So since last 16 and 17, we have seen it. This is, I think, like a glorification of anything like that, which send the wrong message, because most of the people, they don't really understand the history. When they see some innocent lady with a sari bleeding, 2 6 gentlemen trying to kill her, that send the wrong message, especially to the young community or the people, those who don't understand.
Young community. That's good. That's right. He's right about that. It's not good for the young community.
And Sikh history. But having said that, they have a right to protest, actually, because we can, one thing in the Sikh community, we cannot forgive and we cannot forget. And I agree with that. I cannot forgive, I cannot forget, and so there has to be a way around to express their sentiments. And so even the people in the Sikh community, and last week in the San Francisco, there was more than 50,000 people get together, and their protest was very peaceful.
May I say this to you, Mr. Chahal, that on this channel I have carried out for decades now, and on the other channel which I founded, the strongest protest against all those people, and I have cornered Jagdish Titler, and you know that, and he's run away from my program. So if there's anyone who stands,
Sir,
against for the victims of 84, it is me.
Sir,
But I can't support glorification of an assassination, sir, which is what happened in Brampton.
I 100% agree. Just let me finish. The problem is with the history, with the Indian history. We try to distort the history actually, because take a look what happened in the 1948. In the 1948, when Mr. Nathugam Godsa killed the Mahatma Gandhi, and there was a killing of the Brahmins in the Maharashtra. And it was done by the Congress party at the time. Now switch the
May I ask you a question?
Excuse
I
me.
think you're a bit hypocritical. When Greta Thunberg tweeted her support for farmers' protest, they were burning effigies in the streets of India. Was that peaceful
Let me
protest?
tell you,
Was that violence?
Narinda, let me tell you, I have a simple question.
Got him. But he's nasty. He'll never lose an argument.
For you. Let us have a situation. No, 1 minute, Narinda. I'll call you on another debate since you seem too enthusiastic to take a violence position. I'll only say this to you: should I sit in New Delhi and try to carry out a paid string of violent incidents in the United Kingdom and say to you when it happens and when you complain, oh, I'm only defending democracy. No. I said, please, we stay out of the UK, you stay out of India, we stay out of Canada, you stay out of India, but if you don't, then you don't need to have a free trade agreement with us. You don't need to have a free trade agreement with us.
Wow, he just gets so nasty always. I've seen him do like these debates, and then someone will say something, he'll be like, oh, I didn't know you were working for Xi Jinping. You love China? Like he'll just accuse them of being like pro-Chinese.
No, Britain does. You need us. You need us. We don't need you. You need us more.
Petty.
We're bigger than you. You need us more.
There's no reason to say that.
Yeah. So that's the thing. You need us economically. We don't. It cannot be. You have to appreciate the lines. Okay. So Narendra, we disagree tonight. We'll come to.
Let's talk to the comment congregation. Wow, we got some fat comments right now. P. Morton, native Indian English, you gotta train your brain to drop every third syllable or you're gonna fall behind. I guess so, eh? Community? Whole community get mad. Yeah, I guess he did have two on their side. He just didn't put them together. That was the first time I've seen him do that. He mixed and matched everyone. Chipko says Amish is a buttercup. Chipko, thanks, baby. Hey, Chipko, I was trying to get you that ranch, but I couldn't find you. I couldn't find your channel. So you got to send me a link to your channel in Instagram, and then I can do it there. There's a link to join the Instagram page, to follow me on Instagram. Should be in the comments. Also, my meditation every Sunday. Listen, guys, we are not meant to fight. We are meant to love. We are not meant to fight. We are meant to love each other. And if they want to, I got to say, like, I think it does feel a little bit like, especially as a comedian, it does feel a little bit like you're just offended by this one. The people who are offended and calling it like, this is terrorism and you're doing this is a terrorist attack on our land, and then it's like you're offended that, yeah, like it's freedom of speech, man. Who cares? Now, I do agree with him that it does teach younger kids, because if younger kids don't know who the woman is, then all they're seeing is just a woman. All they're seeing, that's a good point. If you don't know the context, then the float is just a woman like this, and then two guys, and they both have turbans too. So how does it look in the community? That's fair. That's actually a really good point. But in the end, I think it's fair. Raziel the Great, can murder or depictions of murder assassinations be considered art? Look, you gotta have I understand what you're saying, but sometimes you gotta have a revolutionary spirit, and the revolutionary spirit is artistic like that. It's basically like, you know, a sense of like, we fought back and we did something, because she did do a really nasty massacre on their community. And then then the two security guards, like, you know, what are you, crazy? It's like, you got to talk to them after or before or whatever. You know what I mean? Make sure they're on board. Make sure they understand. So whatever. So if you give, even if it's disagreeable, freedom of speech is important in my opinion. However, freedom of speech does not equate to freedom of consequences. Yeah, I think it's pretty rock and roll. It's pushing the edges a little bit. Fair enough. It's pushing the edges a little bit. But it does have like, you know, they have a revolutionary spirit, and they have a protesting and a fighting back spirit, and a spirit of like, this happened, we're not going to shy away from it, we're not going to hide it, we want to tell the kids, we want to tell them that, like, yeah, our community was attacked, and we fought back. You know, they're seeing it like that, obviously. And this always happens. It's like the people in charge always call the new people terrorist. It's like, no, you're just in charge. So to you, any opposition is terrorist. You roll your tanks in, and we got to glorify it. We put up monuments all the time. Are you kidding me? You know how many World War I? Every place I go, there's a World War I, World War II monument saying like so and so went to Italy and fought for this platoon, and they've defeated whatever. I mean, World War II is pretty clear what the morality is. But if you talk to a lot of historians about World War I, and they're like, it's shaky. The morality on World War I is not really quite there if you look back in history. But it is interesting, though, how, you know, if like, let's just say you're on an American parade, like there's like American street parade. It wouldn't surprise me if they had a float of like 2 or 3 Americans shooting natives, and the natives are dead or something like that. I could see it. I mean, I'm not saying that it's impossible. It could be there. If you look at a lot of their war monuments, some of them are violent. Some of them are like, yeah, we won, we took it over, and you know, it's wrong though. It is a very low vibration. Because like I said before, we're not here to hate, we're here to love. We're not here to fight, we're here to love. You know, and really the righteous move for all involved in any kind of trauma like that is to take the steps towards de-escalation. So, yeah. You know, and a lot of times these guys, they see like putting up the float as a symbol of like, you know, we still want to talk about this. We're affected by this. It doesn't necessarily mean like, okay, now go kill the next guy. Sometimes, I mean, if they do a massacre on your community, then maybe, yeah, it does mean that. But sometimes it just means like, hey, this is a piece of trauma that it's unresolved. We got to talk about this. We have to have a discussion about it. And that's it. That's all I see. That's all I see, people. But thanks for coming, everyone. You know, see if you can have some kind of a revolutionary spirit in your heart about something. Because that's really when you're alive. We're supposed to be living in a rebellion. According to the meditation people. I know it's crazy. It seems crazy. You think they'd just be like, calm down, do your work. It is, but they do talk about like that life itself is a rebellion against nothingness. Light itself is a rebellion against darkness. You know, like stuff like that. I've heard a lot of quotes like that. So it's good to see revolutionaries fighting because it gives you a burst in your heart that, yes, we do have to, sometimes you have to fight back. You know, and if the time comes, I will fight the powers. Might have to do it. I hope not. But anyway, I gotta go. Thanks for coming, everyone. Appreciate you. Chirag Yadav, what's up? Yo, Internet International. P. Morton says International. World War I was an internet game of chicken that went horribly wrong. P. Morton, yeah. International game of chicken that went horribly wrong. Yeah. And then World War II came out of World War I. Yeah. Peace and love. We suffer for knowledge. Yes. Peace and love. Peace and love, y'all. Thanks for coming in. Message me on Instagram if you want me to add you, if you want me to get you that wrench. Look at Richard Matthews, so excited about his wrench. So yeah, you can message me on Instagram, and then also sign up for my meditation Sundays at 9 p.m. and let that 1111 energy channel right in, y'all. Let it channel right in. Thanks for coming. There we go. Welcome to the service, y'all. Thanks for coming to this service.